Hey, this is Jotham. Welcome back to my showcases of my Hitman level. This is going to be quite a different video today because I'm going to be taking a deep dive into all of my blueprints and all of the developments I've been doing. I've been told recently that I should have more development work, and so I thought, well, I might as well go right into it and show pretty much everything. And so for quick context, I'm making a Hitman level for my honours project for university. I'm studying games design at the University of Central Lancashire. And my project is to make a Hitman level playable to quite a significant degree and including an awful lot of mechanics. And so, yeah, I think I'm kind of halfway there, I think. I've done the map, blocked out the map, done a lot of the mechanics, and done a fair bit of the AI, but of course there's a lot more to do. But I thought I'd do this video now because I have been asked to do it, and so yeah, let's crack on. So the first thing I did was actually get in some of the mechanics. I wanted to get this to work, and so to demonstrate this, I wanted to have the movement, and so I wanted to include a crouch and a sprint, and then also a crouch and a sprint at the same time. And so I can show you it's in the game. If I walk around, I can sprint, and I can crouch as well, and I can even crouch and sprint. But how did I do this? Well, if I open the third person character blueprint, I rename this to BP Agent 47 just for my own convenience. And so for the crouch, there is already like a crouching function. I don't think I can open it. I think I need to have plus to see that. But there is a crouching function, but it doesn't work in the base game. And so to get this to work, I had to do something with the animations. I think, let's see if I can find it. Here we are. Let's bring this over. So I had this animation I had to bring in of walking super fast, and then walking normally, and then stopping. So I had to make a blend splice and get all this working together, and then activate this when I'm crouching. And so this means that when I do crouch, you can see I have the idle animation, and I go into the walking, and I stop. I can actually demonstrate, if I use my controller, I can demonstrate it blends properly. There we are. And of course, if I wanted to sprint as well, that works. So because Hitman can be played with both his keyboard and mouse and the controller, I did have to have two sets of controls. One, obviously, for the keyboard and one for the gamepad. But before I move on, I also wanted to demonstrate the zoom. Hitman has a zoom, and this is because you've got to take into account lots of different areas of the level. And to do this, I actually always forget which trigger to press. I think it's this one. Okay, so I've got the left trigger, and it just zooms in and zooms out, and I added a bit of an animation, a timeline to tell it go in and go out, go in and go out. And this just means that the player can sort of have a better look at things, because when it's a third-person game, sometimes the details can be lost, and so it's always useful to have the zoom to have a closer look. I think I'll quickly show the blueprints in the character. So you can see here, on pressed, set the walking speed to quite slow, and I've also set this as a zoom key. That will be useful for later. Got a timeline, play from the start, set the field of view of the follow camera. I've got two variables, normal is 90 and then zoom is 60. And this is for later. That was not relevant just yet. And on released, set it back to a normal walk speed, reverse from the end. I don't need to change anything here. So there you go, that's the zoom. I should probably quickly show you the sprint as well, really nice and easy. On the pressed, set the max speed to 500. Unreleased, set the max speed to 300. or it's 300 for crouched and 200 for crouched. This is just so it's brilliant actually. Yeah, the character movement has a crouch function, I think, in here. I don't remember where it is. I think maybe it's in walking. Here we are. Max walk speed crouched. So it's in the game. You just got to add, some functionality to get it working. So I didn't have to do too much there. Okay, so after getting the movement working, I thought, well, Hitman needs to be able to climb up things. And so I got to work making some objects you can climb. And I wanted to choose a colour that would be instantly recognizable. And so I chose yellow. So if I walk up to a yellow object and press E, well, actually I'm holding E, it will go up. And if I come back and press Control, I will go down. Now this is different on the gamepad because it's A to go up, but it's actually B to go down, whereas crouching is the right mouse button. Oh, not right mouse button, right stick press down. So I need to press B to go down. I'll quickly show you the blueprints for this as well. So this is a bit of a pain, and there is an issue with it, and I'm going to demonstrate it as well. But before I do, let's quickly show you here. So in the BP climbable, first of all, if I enter an overlap, which is this thing here, then set to be climbing, and set itself to be the current climbable object for Agent 47. And this is useful because I have a timekeeper. So every 0.1 seconds it's testing and it's testing if climbing is true. So if climbing is true, then start climbing. And this is where it gets pretty cool. So from climbing, if it's true that I'm holding down the interact key, quickly show you the interact key is set here. And that button is in the project settings. Interact key is E or A on my keyboard or on my gamepad. So if that's down, if I'm pressing E or if I'm pressing A, then do once, launch the character up, and then reset it. But only reset it, only do it again if I'm still pressing the button. And so I can show you here. Very quickly dash over here. I can come down again. Now then, I did encounter an issue, and I'll quickly just show it here, that if I was to go up, it wouldn't sort of work. I wouldn't be able to get here, you know. And so to help me, I made another event. And so if I'm overlapping the second box, this top one, then set is climbing again. Set it's the current climbable object, and then set it's at the end location. And if I am pressing the key, then do the climb help up. The climb help up will only happen if all of these things are true. That I'm climbing, I'm at the end location, and I'm pressing the button. If all of those things are true, then after a delay of 1 second, and I'll explain why that's happened in a minute, then do this timeline and change the world location. But where do I change it to? In the current climbable objects, I have something called a start location. This is just a billboard. I'm going to teleport the player to there. And I'm going to set is not climbing. And then also, just to make sure, and if it ends anyway, that you will set not climbing and not at the end location. Same here. If you end the overlap of the box first, set not climbing. So it's all nice and clean. Now this is not that good, but I have an event tick. Sorry, but this is testing if we're at the end location and only at the end location, not testing if we're climbing. And then if I'm pressing the drop down key, which is to do with, not even to do with crouch, is it? Let's see if we can find the drop down. It's a big group of blueprints, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, the drop down key is here. Drop down, left control, same button as crouch, but face button right. So B. Oh no, maybe I've lost it. I think I maybe set event set play. Event begin play maybe. Okay, I don't know where that is. Whoops. Okay, oh well. So, in any case, if those buttons are pressed, then if the drop down key is pressed, then slide help down, which is a do once, timeline, and I'm setting the location and rotation. The location is the end location here, this one, and the rotation is, I think, also this thing here. It's facing this way, facing towards the blockout box. So after that, of course, set is not climbing. I always have a second thing going over here, resetting at the end location, so that I can reset this. Okay. And so I did it as 1 second. I said I would show you over here, simply because of the way I've done the moving up, that I'm launching the character rather than just moving up normally, and so gravity applies. And so I've actually, bam, I've already touched it, and then it does it. I'll show you again. So it's basically whenever I first overlap the box, that's at the top of this this thing here, the climbable. Bam, I've touched it. 1 second later, I move. This means that it makes sense, rather than being instant and I'm basically teleporting a bit ridiculously. Okay, so that's been shown. I'm not sure what happened to that. Oh, here it is. Whoops. Okay, so input action, drop down, set it to the drop down key, and then just set all these things to true or false, because that's not relevant just yet. It's here. Whoops. Okay, right, so it is here. I'm setting it, and that's how I'm calling it later on. Okay, but what are all these things? What does this have to do with anything? Well, this is the next headache I had to come across. I also wanted to have ledges that you can climb up and down from, and it's really cool. I can do it. Yes, I can go up. And hang on, I can go down, and I can either go up and say nope, don't want to, and then I can even go up again if I wanted to. So all that works. What doesn't work, it does kind of, but not really, is moving side to side. Very, very slow. And this is part of the headache. So it's kind of cool what I did. I have 4 different traces. So I have a forward trace. So I'll even show you very quickly. Well, that's the federation. Just so you can see. Get over here. Alright then. So if I'm underneath this one here. Oh, I should actually show you as well. Let's quickly open this. I can only do it if I'm inside this box here. I've added the arrows just to help me which direction to put the thing. But if I'm inside this box here, then I can do these line traces. As you can see these line traces on the screen. And I can go up. And so I'm doing 2 line traces. I'm doing one across and one up. And to go back down, this is why it doesn't always work. It needs to be at a good location. But I'm doing down as well and across. So it doesn't always work going down. I think I have to be in a particular position. I'm getting quite good at guessing where, but it's because it's a lot harder to come down with line traces than go up, especially because there isn't really a wall I can test against. So here works as well. So I can get up and down multiple ones. So how is this working? Okay, so if I go over here to hang timer, and drop hang. Well, actually, I should probably show you here first. I think it's something to do with this. Right, yeah. So I'm pressing the interact button. These aren't relevant yet. If it's true, I can hang, then do the forward trace and the height trace and the hang reset. Hang reset's here, the forward trace is here, and where's the other one? I'll just open it then. Height trace, okay, right at the end. Let me move those around. So, forward trace, do a sphere trace by channel. If it's true, set that as the wall normal and the wall location. Same with the height. If it's true, set that as the height location. And then if it's not hanging, then set movement mode to flying, and then hang. After I hang, launch the character into the air, then play a montage. Oh heck, a montage. Then pause the montage, set is hanging, and move component 2, the wall location, the wall normal, and the wall height, I think, as well. The height location is here. I'm only taking the Z. I don't care about the other 2. Then I'm checking if I'm hanging. If it's true, then stop movement immediately. This is why I can't move left or right. This is a big thing here. I'll show that in a minute. This is why I can't move left and right properly. It's only very slightly because stopping movement immediately doesn't do it all the time. This is 0.01 seconds to stop movement immediately. A tick is 0.001, I think. So I'm getting a very slight amount of time to move. Because it's not an event tick, I am moving. I'm actually falling as well. And so if I'll show you here, and it's very slight, but I am actually falling, you can see. And there's no real way to fix this without having this even smaller, but that's just the way it is. And so then, every 0.01 seconds, if I'm hanging, which is true I am, then do the drop down or do the climb up. And so, every 0.5 seconds, this is to make sure that you don't fly into the air. This is to give the player enough time to grab on, and in their heads to figure out, okay, I want to go up again. But also, it means that 0.5 seconds is a good time to hold. It doesn't feel like it's too long. It feels like it's a good amount after some testing. So, if it's true that I'm hanging and I'm pressing the buttons, interact key or drop down key, then set I'm no longer hanging, do once, play the montage, set movement mode walking. I can't hand drop anymore, set rotation, and move component 2. Where am I moving it to? Some fancy maths. A long time testing. I'm getting the capsule component, that's me, that's the player, timesing the X and the Y by 4. This is to move it forward. Adding 175 to it. Sorry, that's the forward vector. This is the wall location. guessing the forward vector, times that by 4 so it goes forwards. Adding 175 to the z, setting that as a relative location. The rotation is easy, just the same as before. I'm playing a montage. I have one, it's called Hang to Crouch. Let's see, it's why it looks so janky. Search here. Hang to Crouch. Here it is. So I'm playing this montage. When I'm going up, when I'm going down is not really relevant. But this means that, if you're following, I can go up, and then if I hold for longer than 0.15 seconds, I will go up. And it's the same thing again. I can go down again. And it means because of when I'm doing both of them, oops, I didn't want to do that. Okay, when I'm doing both of them, because I'm firing both drop down and climb up at the same time, I can do either. So what's going on in the ledge? Nice and easy. Quick a reference. If I begin the overlap with the box ledge, then can hang drop. So this is the top here. If I begin overlap with the box bottom, can hang right here. And this is just checking if I can hang as well. It's quite a big check, but you think just so that it all makes sense. Okay. And like I said before, these arrows just tell me where the player will go. Alright, so that's climbing up and climbing down. I will bit complicated. I will show you the hand movement. Quite simple. Movement left or right. I only want left or right. Set orient rotation to movement. Nope. If I tick that and press play, I'll show you what happens. If I want to move, this happens. Disaster. Rubbish. So, not a chance. So untick that. Then if it's true that it's nearly equal to 0, which is my input, then nothing happens. But if it is, then do a line trace by channel. And this is just making sure that I can actually move. If it's true that I can... Oh, this is a bit hard to explain. Okay, so if the player is hanging here, I'll even show you in person. If the player is hanging here, I do not want them to be able to go off. That line trace then stops me from going off the edge. I'm still pressing D to go to the right, but I'm not moving anywhere. I can move back if I want to. And it's the same with going left. I'm pressing A, but I can't go any further. This is stopping me from doing that. And so if it's false that I don't have any, if I don't have any room, that's effectively what I'm testing. If I don't have any room to go, then stop movement immediately. You will not be moving. Okay, I think that basically makes sense. Once again, it's some issues. It's a bit chunky. I think I actually forgot to show you the issue with this thing. If I move up, I can just sort of fly over here. That is an issue. There is a way to fix it. The way to fix it is with this thing. This has the same idea, same concept. This is a vaultable. This is if Agent 47 is running along and just needs to quickly get over. There you go. It's the same thing as the climbable object. The vaultable is just doing something slightly different. First of all, set is climbing or not climbing. Launch character into the air. Same thing here. But what I haven't shown you is that we have two collisions. And I was feeling a little bit crazy, so I called them Franklin and Graham. So Franklin is this one, and this is Franklin's friend. This is Graham, and this is Graham's friend. When the player touches Franklin, then Franklin's friend will become, will stop all collision. Right now, if I was to walk in through here, there is no collision. But the moment the player touches Franklin, then Franklin's friend becomes a brick wall. And it's the same with Graham. And so this means that if I'm climbing up, I can't go back. I can't fly away. The only way forward is forward. And it's the same with this direction. I can't go back. Until I stop touching, which is when I've landed. I've stopped touching, then this becomes no longer a brick wall, and I can. And so really, to fix the issue with this climbable object, I actually just need to have some walls around it, because I think I will have to do that later, because I'm doing this right now. Okay, so moving on. Yes, after doing quite a lot of movement stuff, I thought, well, actually, what I need to do is an inventory system. I didn't really want to do it because it's a bit annoying and a bit difficult, and it was a bit annoying and a bit difficult, but I've come up with one anyway, and the basic bones are there, and I haven't got any proper items, but like the groundwork is there, and so I can show you all of that. So first of all, if I press tab, this is during Hitman as well, then it comes up with an inventory. Hitman's inventory is sort of across the screen, but I just want to do one bit down here. And it slows time really slowly until I press this button again. Now it's true, I can press it in here, but I need to, on the gamepad, should have made that clear. I can press it by pressing down on the gamepad, but I need to use the mouse to click it again. And the reason I've done it like that is because it's kind of impossible to get it so that the gamepad can select things. It isn't impossible, but for me it is. I'm not that clever. Yeah, so if I press tab, it opens the inventory. Right now there's nothing, and this button here in the bottom right is just an unarmed button. That makes sense. And so I have two items. I have this wonderful big shield. I use the shield because it's something I've made before, and I know I can use it. So I've got the shield, and its UV map is its image, and it comes into my hand. And I can actually set the size of that. It doesn't make any sense for it to be that small, so I can make it a fair bit bigger when it's in the hand, but I won't do that now. I can change the size of that. And so if I hold E while next to it, I get it, I can put it in my hand, I can get another one, and then if I go back to unarmed, I get two of them. Selected it, got one, because I've got one in my hand. 3, 2 there, one in my hand, back to 3. And then, also, I have the gun, and the gun is a smaller version, but this is demonstrated by the 1. Also, the guns don't stack, because they don't stack in Hitman the game. And so now I've got a gun in my hand, and I can aim, and I can shoot. Pow, 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 pow. Just using line tracers. Not perfect yet, but oh well. So, how did I do it? Oh heck. How did I do it indeed? A long, long process. So, the first thing I wanted to do was open the inventory. So, I have an input action, open the inventory. The input action here is tab and the gamepad D. Oh, I should have said up. I said down. I meant up. I'm pressing up to open the inventory. So, do once, toggle the inventory. What is the inventory? I just opened it then, didn't I? Here it is. The inventory components. Ah! It's a big thing. Okay, we'll start from the start. Event begin play, cast the first player, prepare the inventory. Prepare the inventory. I've got the inventory here, the number of slots, I can change that to 2 if I wanted to. See, I've only got 2 now. Right, but I'll change it back to 15. It was a really good number, and it made sense. So I can choose how big I want the inventory here. Then, if the player is pressing the inventory button, then toggle the inventory. So I'm going to toggle inventory here. If it's valid, then that's valid. Then remove from parent. Sorry, my mistake. It's not valid because it's not been made yet. So then, create the inventory. This itself is the owner. Add it to the viewport. I do that. Where do I do it? I do it somewhere. Okay, in any case, I set it as a reference as well. I cast it the game mode. I add it to the child to the canvas. That's right, I have a hood. Whoops, didn't want to do that. Okay, let's show you. Inventory UI. I have the hood. Here it is, the hood canvas. So by pressing this, I'm adding this hood to the canvas, which is here. I'm having it as an auto size, just so I don't have to bother with that. Set the alignment 0.5, 0.5, so it's in the middle of the screen. Set the anchors to the anchors, which I demonstrated on the right hand side of the screen here. These things. Set from Agent 47, inventory is open. Yes, it's open, that's a boolean. Set the input mode to nothing, and then show the mouse cursor. So this means that I'm stopping the game, that I can look around, and also press it. Okay, what happens if it's open? Remove it from parent, using this thing, remove from parent, set this to be the inventory window reference, to be nothing, set the inventory open to be not true, set the game mode only, input mode game only, so only the game mode, I don't want game mode in UI, set show mouse cursor, no. This just resets everything. So this is, press the button, reset everything. So, I hope you're following along. Easier said than done. So then, if it's true, oh, I've got to explain this whole thing. Oh well. Okay, so each item that I want to add it to the inventory, right? The only thing I'm dealing with is the only thing I'm dealing with when adding to the inventory if it's stackable. If it's true, then add to the stack. If it's not true, then make a new stack. If the stack is already full, create a new stack. Then return again to whatever you're doing. However, items have more to do than just that they're stackable. They have a name. They have a thumbnail. I'll deal with that later. They have a description. They have a structure. So that's what class they actually are. They're stackable. Is it illegal? And these are all ones I've decided on. Is it lethal? Is it a weapon? Is it a gun? Is it throwable? Is it unarmed? And then how many am I adding when I pick it up? It will always be one, but you never know. Something might have to be two. Right then. Or maybe even zero. Sometimes they have... Oh my goodness. Sorry. Looking at the wrong screen. Whoops. Okay, I'll show you again. Stackable. If it's true that it can be stacked, then add to the stack. If it's too full, create a new stack. If it can't be stacked, create a new stack. Return home. You've got a name, got a thumbnail, so that's what it looks like when it's on the image. You have a description, the actual class it is, that the item you're picking up is, so that's like the actor. If it's stackable, if it's lethal, if it's illegal, lethal, if it's a weapon, if it's a gun, if it's throwable, if it's unarmed, and how many to add. Okay, sorry. Okay, right, so moving on. If I pick up this item, you can see it's stackable because I can pick it up again. This one over here isn't. As you can see there. Okay. So then, let's actually open these items then. And so I have a couple of item tests. The enumeration is not important as of yet. When I add more items I will need to. But I have the gun test and I have the item test. So they have the item structure on the right, and this is just everything. So the name, the thumbnail, the description, the class, and all the booleans. Same with the gun. The name, thumbnail, the description, the class, and all the booleans. It's not stackable, but it is illegal and it is a gun. I can change this if I wanted to. I'll change it to the Paw Patrol dude I made. Alright then. So if I pick this up, I now have a Paw Patrol. So it's dead easy to change. It's instant changing. Super easy. So I can make lots of items very quickly, all with different sorts of booleans about what they are, what kind of things they are. I also have is item hidden. This is a bit difficult to explain, so I'll show you later. Okay, so I think that's, oh yeah, this is when I'm adding to stack, I'm just adding to the array. That's what's happening. Sort of similar with the create stack. So I think that's the inventory component shown. What happens if I want to, yeah, so I check if I can pick it up. So if I'm pressing the button, see here, interact key, inventory pickup, delay for 0.3 seconds. If it's true, I'm still pressing it down. Then get the overlapping actor, implement the interface, and then do interact. Which isn't really relevant, but it's just a small little thing there. Do the interact. So that then it will get rid of itself and be picked up. Basically, that's what's happening. I also, okay, is there anything else I need to explain before I move on? No, I don't think so. Alright then, so, there will be, but not yet. So, what happens if I want to drop an item? I can input action drop item. In the project settings, drop item is Q or the D-pad down. So, if I have the item in hand, then spawn the actor by class, whatever I have in my hand, set the item enumerator to be 0, and then content to add reset, so I'm resetting it all. Oh, that won't make any sense actually. But it's, okay, I'll show you what it happens. Picks it up in my hand, Q, oops, one button, Q. There you go. Same with this one. In my hand, bam 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 bam, Q. There it is. That easy. What does this mean? The item enumerator, and what does the content to add mean? Well, over here, I have this timekeeper. And so I have two, this is how basically I'm testing, I'm linking up the item you picked up and the item you put in your hand. So first of all, this is just checking, this slows the time if the inventory is open. If it's true, set it to a quarter of the speed. If it's not, then just crack on. So that's why time slows. But I'm checking if I have item 1 or item 2 in my enumerator. And so item 1 is nothing, so that's being unarmed. Because I only have one static mesh, both items have to be the shield. If I include more, it's dead easy. I just change it to be a different shield, or like a different mesh. I can change it to anything really. So that's what's happening there, and the content to add is just the item structure and the quantity. That is all found in here on the right hand side. This is the content to add. So what happens If I okay, let's open the item, master item. Maybe it'll be there. Yeah. Okay, here it is. The event interact, get a component by class and add it to the inventory, adding 1, and then destroy the actor in the world. If I use the item, then I'm setting for Agent 47 all this to be true. This just means that I can have AI test if stuff is illegal. And add back to inventory as well. So just to reset. If I'm resetting and adding back to inventory, then I'm adding 1 to the item structure. This is how I can go from this back to having nothing, and then back to having 1 again. That's how it works. It's with that thing, with that function. I think actually in the hood, it demonstrates it a bit easier. Maybe not, hang on, not there. Okay, it's still in the hood, but it's the inventory slot, I think. Yeah, okay. This is it. Like I said, it's pretty complicated. So, on the mouse button down, left mouse button, so if I'm clicking it, then, and if it's more than 0, then spawn the actor of the thing where in the player's hand. Use the item, -1, refresh it, and toggle the inventory back down to nothing, and now it's been handled. To refresh the slot, I'm guessing it, making sure it's equal, less than or equal to 0. If it is, then set the slot contents to be 0. If not, then set the brush, have the thumbnail. So the brush and the texture, this thing to be the thumbnail. This thing is the number I have, and set this thing to be the thumbnail. Okay, that sort of makes sense. It does make sense, I just don't know if I'm explaining it well at all. Alright, so the last thing to show on the inventory is this cheeky monkey here, the unarmed button. It's here. I'm spawning the inventory like here, and so it just makes sense. This just makes sense. On the event construct, I'm adding the child to grid, however many I said I would, -1, and then I'm just setting the row. It's just a bit complicated, but 8, and 8. You know. Then if I click unarmed, then what I'm doing, I'm casting to my player, I'm setting an item enumerator to be the first one, content to add, I'm resetting it. All this is no longer relevant. I'm unarmed though, and then I'm toggling the inventory, and I'm adding back to inventory. Do you want? I'm resetting. So actually, when I reset it, it allows me to open it again. If I was to do this, close it, I can't open it again. This is what lets me open it again. This is what allows me to make sure it's always the right amount of number when I'm adding one. It's this function, all in the unarmed. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but oh well. Okay, so that's the inventory. Let's close everything down. It is complicated, it's big, it's a lot. It's hard to understand. I get it, but barely. So, oh well. Moving on, we have disguises. This is quite fun, not as complicated as before. Go up to an area, and now I have a disguise on, and I can swap them around. Different disguises for different, uniforms. The black one is always Agent 47 because he's always in a black suit. The white is the chef. Yo, what up? This is the barista, the brown. The rugby lad is the yellow. This is the student association worker. It used to be red, but I changed it to this sort of green. The dark green is the professor, a special skin. This is paramilitary normal, the blue, and then purple is paramilitary elite. Okay, that sounds like a word salad. Let's see if I can explain it. So, over here in the blueprints, I have disguises and all of the disguises. I have a master disguise where all of the work happened, and I just sort of copied them. So, if it's true, if the player is overlapping a sphere, then set can disguise to be true and set itself to be the potential disguise. Let's see if I can find the disguise stuff. My brain is starting to melt now. Okay, so yeah. So if I press the button, you might remember, interact button, disguise. So I'm pressing it, the first thing that happens is disguise. If it's true that I'm still pressing it after 0.3 seconds and I can disguise, which we'll set in here, then set the current disguise as the meantime disguise. This is how I got it to work. Cast the master disguise, get the potential disguise, and set that to be the current disguise. Well, I get the disguise color and set that to be the current disguise. And then I switch disguise. I get the meantime disguise and set that to be the material. This is how I can go from having a white chef's costume there and swapping it to now having Agent 47s on the floor, and now I'm wearing the cook. That is how I do it. And then I also have a reset. That's not relevant until much later on. So that's pretty much it. I'll quickly show you, I'll use the cook disguise as the example. The only difference here is the color of the elements of the material and this thing here, but this isn't relevant because yeah, that will come into it later when I demonstrate the AI. So I've done all this, had lots of things working, at least to a reasonable degree, and I thought, okay, well, now might be a good time to crack on with the level design. And so yeah, I did. Okay, so the way I did it, I have 3 maps. I have the testing ground, which I'll save now. I have Jothamsburg University. That's the name of the university I've decided to call the gameplay area. And I have a backup. The backup I might as well show now. Okay. So I better not touch anything. Right, so I have this plugin called Blockout Tools. It's really awesome. On the left hand side of the screen you can see them. I have all these different blockout tools, and this lets me change or build all this. I built all this as the map, and it lets me steady as change, pressing R, and I can scale it always by 0.5. I don't want to change anything because it'll take forever to save. So I made everything using the blockout tools, and it was really awesome. And I put in all these NPCs as well. Oh, I forgot to show you those. Oh well. Right, so this it kind of lags a lot, and so I needed to optimize it. And so I had made everything, and I will show you everything in detail later. But now I'll just tell you that I optimized it, and it took me so long to save, and I, to do everything, to turn all these into static meshes, to get these NPCs into better versions of themselves. So I spent forever and ever and ever, not that long, but for ages and ages optimizing it. And so now if I open Jothamsburg University, you'll see that it's These are all static meshes, some in different parts, including these ones and all this and all this. The ground still isn't. I decided not to do the ground, just because it would be a bit of a pain. But the way the static meshes work, I'll quickly show you, just demonstrate why it took me so long. Let's see here. Where has it gone? Okay, I'm not sure where they've gone. Okay, whatever. So, because of the way the blockout tools work, when you make them into a static mesh, each little blockout section has its own material instance. I decided not to have 1,000,001 material instances, and so to fix this, I just sort of had one. Here it is, it's in meshes. Why doesn't that show up? Oh, it does, okay. I decided just to have one. Okay, let's use an example. The Elizabethan Building, first floor. I have 79 material slots. I decided, no, I do not want to have 79 materials. I instead only want one, and so I made a blue and a floor blue, a green, and all these different colours. So it took a long time to drag individually all them over, do all this sort of stuff, and to optimize it properly. I replaced the blueprints static meshes. It says blueprint here, but you can see here the type is a static mesh. These are all Mod 5s. really chunky. Just to optimize everything so it runs and plays better than it used to. And so it took me ages, but it's done now. And it's good fun. So what I'll do now, actually, I'll quickly show you some of the other stuff I've done before demonstrating the level as a whole. And so I've got NPCs, and they have text. If I walk close to them, then they'll say it for a set amount of time. Here's another one. And these can be used to direct the player towards certain things. And so here's a good example. Did you hear they closed the library? So strange. And it's quite good. I can change what they say on the fly. If I find one. On the right hand side of the screen, you can just see here. Text to say, did you hear they closed the library? I can change the duration. That was a bit short, so I'll change it to 4 seconds. And if they can talk, then they will speak. And so we have a fair few of these dotted around the place. Just saying interesting things. Just to add a bit of life and a bit of intrigue. Hitman often likes to have audio clips of things to guide the player. It's a bit harder for me, but I think the visual cues do aid a little bit in informing the player what's going on and what they can discover. But of course, like every kind of chatter, some of it's useful and some of it's not. I also have done the AI, but I think I'm actually going to demonstrate that a bit later. That will take quite a while to show, prove, and explain. So here we are. I think I'll give you a complete overview of the Jothamsburg University. This is it. This is the university. The player, when they start, will actually probably start somewhere over here the first time they play. I think here. I think this is what I said. Okay. Not concrete. And they will be greeted by a student association ambassador, who's the ones that sort of wear these green outfits, these ones. And they'll say, hello and welcome to Jothamsburg University. Please, this way we'll show you to your dorm. And here you sort of get a good, nice view of the whole exciting atmosphere of the Freshers' Fair. Maybe hear some chatter along the way, and oh wow, there's so much to explore. Really getting the grandness of this. We've got this dude saying, "Oh, what's going on over there?" Ooh, see the library, and that has the most stunning architecture. So it's sort of like, okay, wow, okay, something's going on there. Walking past, you see people chatting, having a good time. Commenting, "Rugby lads are so cool, whoa!" And so the person will lead you here into the reception of this student's accommodation building. And we have a receptionist here saying, "Welcome to Manfield Hall." This is called Manfield Hall. And so if I open the door, you're introduced to the player's bedroom. This is Agent 47's personal bedroom. And here there will be a agency pickup. I think after you complete the level for the first time and you come to replay it, this will probably be the first area you unlock to play from the bedroom. So, the player's here. Agent 47's in his room, and he's got to find the two targets, the Dean and the Paramilitary Leader. And so at the start of the level, he would have been given a briefing. The Dean's in his office, cooped away, highly secure, no easy way in. While the Paramilitary Leader is in the underground base, and there's no clear way of how to get down there. You've got to explore the university and find the secret way down. And so there are 5 main buildings on the university campus. We have this one. This is Manfield Hall. This is the main students' accommodation. This is where the player, it's a useful place to start. It has a secret way over to the library. The library is this grand picture, this grand building, and it's been blocked off basically. It's been closed for a number of different reasons. I think the official reason is for maintenance, but everyone knows that's not really happening. It's in perfect condition. I think really the real reason is that the paramilitary organisation has realised there's a secret way down and they're looking to block it off. This building here, this yellow one, is the Student Association building. There is another secret way into the paramilitary base in that building, but that is behind a Student Association barrier. Only they're allowed in, no one else. And so you've got to be very sneaky in order to get in. We have the central area. This is the Freshers' Fair. It's a big public area, lots of people having fun. Opportunities arise for mischief and such. There'll be some useful attire, useful objects to find. I've actually just hidden behind here a disguise, a barista disguise. Hey, I'm like you. And this can be useful later on. So this big red building is the Sir Leroy Building. There are lots of lecture halls here, especially on the 3rd floor. But actually the 3rd floor has been blocked off, and indeed much of the floor below it as well. And the reason being is there is actually an open way down into the secret base there that anyone can go into, and the Dean has said, nope, that's being blocked off, not a chance. No one's going to know about my secret dealings. And finally we have this building here, the Elizabethan Building. This is an artsy building. There is a mission opportunity here involving this massive whale sculpture, but actually the top floor has been blocked off because it has, it's holding up this structure. And so I'll quickly just walk around each building, just so you get a feel of them. In here is a bit of a restricted area. There'll be some IT people. Actually, I'll quickly show you downstairs as well. So this is the main foyer. This is a bit of a podium for the Dean to make his introduction. But the Dean's in his office. He's refusing to come out and open the art show officially. So maybe you might have to do something to try and get him to come on in. This is the toilet. Nothing more to it. Same with this one. Just a loo. Coming through to this section here, it's a corridor. One of it leads to a back entrance. This is all a public area, by the way. I endeavour to make it clear that when the player is in a restricted area, that it will appear on the screen, just like in a real game. But for now, this is all public. People working away at their computer. Moving up to the 1st floor. And so here we just have a guy walking around the place. People are commenting on the whale. It should hold up, right? And this person's really a bit worried. He's saying from this angle, it looks really, really dodgy. And you can see it is a bit, oh heck, you know, a bit dangerous looking. Here we have the IT room, the proper IT room. If I was to step in here, people will have a massive go at me. So, well, actually, they won't. I'm wearing a disguise. But yeah, up there saying we're not allowed in there. Tech stuff. Yeah, I bet they're not. I heard the dean was supposed to open the art show. I think he was, but for some reason he isn't showing. Here we have another disguise, which is a bit random, but good fun. And then through this door is another class going on. We have an unfortunate teacher. Why am I even here? Oh, who knows really. There's actually a secret way up here. I think it's always important to give the player lots of opportunities for exploration. And so giving them lots of ways to go up and down the place really adds to sort of the feeling that you're being really sneaky. So let's go up to the top floor. This is mainly unused. There's no one even in this lecture hall. And the reason is that the roof on top here, just through this, oh heck on, thank you. Just through here has been blocked off. It's an restricted area because this is holding the whole thing together. And if it was to be snapped, then the dean underneath will be crushed to his doom. There is a quick way up to that as well if the player needs to get up there quickly, and it's quite secluded, no one can really see, so it's a good way to go up there. This is just an alternate exit out of the map. And so, we've explored the Elizabeth Building. Let's move into the Sir Leroy Building. This is the back entrance, but actually I'll go through one of the front entrances. The Sir Leroy Building has a massive canteen, but lots of people are annoyed at saying that the third floor has been blocked. And we have some chefs walking around the place, and, you know, just serving people. Why can't we have pizza? Because it's unhealthy. Have you heard the dean's on the third floor? There's locked the third floor, I should say. So lots of people are sort of like, oh, you know, heck, what's going on here? And over here, if we go up the steps, we'll find some people complaining, what? We're not allowed through, why? No reason given. There will be some guards here, but I've not actually made the guards yet, so you'll just have to believe me. I'll just go through here. This is the kitchen. There are some chefs walking around the place. Might be even some opportunity to poison some food, but not just yet. And so the dean has closed off the rest of the building. You know, there is people are supposed to have lectures there. What's going on? Well, first of all, we walk through. This would be quite a heavily guarded space. Some extra guards here. Because through here is the dean, and he's saying, I'm the dean. There he is. He's watching all of his students. Just down there. And so the reason he's blocked it off, quite a significant reason. This staircase here leads straight down to the paramilitary base. There will be some guards here standing, but it leads straight there. It's not acceptable that anyone is allowed here to find their way down. So no siree, not a chance. You're not allowed in. The rest of the floor is just all these different lecture halls, and yeah, and lots of people are quite annoyed, you know, because they're supposed to have lectures. There's no one here. It's just paramilitary people. There'll be some guards roaming the place, making sure no vagabonds like Agent 47 are up to no good. There's always lots of secret ways around. Always good fun. You can even get to this top section here. This is sort of like a nice balcony, which will play an important role in the future when I show you a mission story later on. But here you can see quite a lot of the university, and it's just, you know, putting home, you know, wow, what a beautiful scene. Alright, so this is the Sir Leroy Building. It's always quite hard to demonstrate all these things because there's lots of secret ways around. Here's another one actually. Another one up to the top floor. Let's go down quickly. There we are. Right. I won't show you the underground base just yet. I think I'll just crack on with these main buildings. Okay, so let's show the library. We had a quick brief look before, but I think now I have a disguise. I'll be able to blend in nice and well. Sorry sir, the library is closed for the time being. Quite right, and I'm here to make sure it stays that way. Ha ha! And so, walking around the place, there are a fair few secret ways in. So there's a trumping area here, there to get up to this floor. I'll even show you here. Manfield Hall has a direct access to the library via this viaduct, but there won't be any guards here. I don't think even the student union knows that this is a proper way. So not even the paramilitary knows this exists. So Agent 47 is really breaking new ground by exploring there. And this is quite cool. I think I'll quickly show you this. This is another way to get in without alerting the guards. Which is a sneaky place to climb up. So down here is a room. There'll be a couple of guards here. And if you open the door, this leads down to the paramilitary base. And this is supposed to be a locked door, not easy to get in. And here's another locked door, actually, a really secret way. Some people here are saying, I wonder what that door is over there. But there'll be a key. Got to find the key to unlock that one as well. But that's a secret way into the base. So that's the library. I think the last building now is the Student Association building. The player, if they start where I said they would, right through that door, will have a quick view of it first. And someone saying, hello, welcome to the Student Association, how can I help? And here, you know, we have a meeting room and we have some gender neutral bathrooms, as per usual. And here we've got some guards, only Student Association. Well, I'm Student Association, can't you see? So, good thing. And this is quite a heavily fortified area. There are lots of guards walking around the place. I think without a disguise, it's quite difficult. And these are just Student Association people. These are student volunteers or others, and they're just here. This is their building, but they've been told they're not allowed anyone through here. This is the final secret entranceway into the underground base. No entry allowed, not even for me. If I go upstairs, this is the main canteen. This is like the big cafe area. Some baristas here as well. They're having a great time. They're just chilling. There's a barista outfit here. I think I'll quickly change into one. Yes. So someone's complaining about their girlfriend. Classic student stuff. And of course, there's the way up here via these stairs. But there's actually a roof section as well. I'll quickly go up. Oops. Okay, here we are. This will have some guards on. Just a rooftop garden, and as well as a secret way over to the library. Just by going down there. And this, just adds another way in. It means that if you're able to, you could even go from the library over to here. The library might be a bit too difficult. Sneak your way past, and then slowly sneak down the stairs. I think in Hitman it's quite common that there aren't really any guards on stairs. It's basically impossible to avoid. And I think I'll do the same here. That there won't be any guards until here. So this here is the secret base underground. There are 3 ways in, as I just said, but This is the first one. And this is just basically a bunch of rooms connected by corridors. And like I said, a couple of ways in. Here's another way in. It's this one here. If you go up the stairs here and turn around here. This is what I showed you before, the two doors. Because the player could well be sneaking to get down here, I think this corridor won't have any enemies in at all, and won't encounter any until this room. I decided to add quite a lot of cover to give the player a fighting chance of getting through and around all the rooms. Here's a secret way through, just underneath. There's some more cover to help the player. The Paramilitary Leader will be walking around the place with his entourage, and because it's such a heavily, fortified area, it won't be easy to just kill him. You could run up and just pow pow, sometimes in Hitman I do that, but it's not very useful, it's not very helpful. You get spotted straight away, you're going to have to come up with a sneakier way to dispatch the villain. Here he is, here's a Paramilitary Leader. Oh. So I want to give the player lots of different opportunities to sort of make use of cover, to hide, and that sort of thing. So there's lots of cover around. The Paramilitary Leader will be walking around, of course, but I think the objective is trying to get him isolated, get rid of his entourage, all the while either not being seen, or maybe, even being a paramilitary member yourself by disguising yourself. That can also help you getting in close. So this is the final entrance. This is underneath this Leroy Building. This one might have a fair few guards. This is the one that the paramilitary knows the most about. But of course on the staircase there won't be any. I think it's just a bit unfair if there are. Okay, so we're back here. That's a general overview of the map. Of course, it's a bit hard to demonstrate without exploring yourself, but hopefully I've shown off a fair bit. I'm just running now to get over to a couple of sections that just add a bit of life to the whole university scene. So Jothamsburg University is more of a city-based one. It's in the middle of a city, and so just across the way we have some buildings and some shops. I'll quickly show these off, and these might give the player some extra help. It's the 95p store. Maybe some interesting items there. Someone saying, welcome to the comics. Some comic shops. Here's a cafe shop, but I'll quickly show that later because this is a laundrette. Maybe there'll be a disguise in here as well. That could be quite useful. But actually over here is a mission story. Hitman always have these lit mission stories, and it's just a way for the player to get used to the level along a more of a set track, but can really understand some exciting ways to dispatch the targets. I endeavour for there to be a professor here, and he would have to dip in some poison into his tea or coffee, and he'll go to the toilet. Or maybe he'll just go to the toilet on his own volition. But he goes in there, and he can knock him out and get his disguise. And this is the professor disguise, because you'll be the professor. You're pretending to be this person who's supposed to have a conversation with the dean. And so the dean is in his office. He's waiting for the professor to show up. That's part of the reason why he's there. So you can confidently stroll over. The professor is a bit worried, he's a bit shaky, so that's why he's in the coffee shop trying to calm his nerves. But as Agent 47, you have nerves of steel, right? So you can just stroll right in. Often in Hitman, the guards will try and frisk you, but because the professor is such a well-known character, he won't even need to be frisked. He'll get a straight audience right into the dean's office. But he won't be alone. There'll still be some guards here, so they'll have a conversation, and then after this conversation, the dean will take the professor. The professor should really follow up the stairs. Here they get a direct glimpse at the secret way down. But going up to the top floor, the dean will ask to be alone with the professor,
and looking off into the sunset, they will make some, have some conversation. And here, the Professor, Agent 47, will eliminate the Dean by throwing him off to his doom, and can make a quick escape by going down here, perhaps. If they wait here, maybe some of these guards might run away, and then give the Agent 47 a chance to get in. The guards run away because, of course, the Dean's dead, and so there's a bit of panic, and gives him the perfect opportunity to get downstairs. So that's one way I've been playing with. I think there's a couple of others. I think the other ones are a bit harder to demonstrate, but the one that I think I can will be to do with the Elizabeth Building, also involving the Dean. And so, as I mentioned before, in the Elizabeth Building, you have this whale statue or whale sculpture, and it's looking a bit rickety. The Dean's supposed to come here and open it. So maybe if you can sneak into the IT area and call the Dean over. Can the Dean please go to the Elizabeth Building? Can the Dean please go to the Elizabeth Building? And then, if you find the correct tool, maybe a wrench, you can sneak your way onto the top, past any of the guards, and then when the Dean is in position, unscrew this, and the whale will fall on top of him, and it will look like an accident, and you can get away without anyone knowing any the wiser. And so that's just a second way to dispatch the Dean. Lots of the mission stories regarding the Paramilitary Leader is involved into getting into the base. I've come up with 2 of them so far. We'll just have to see if I have any other. These are just mission stories rather than other ways. I think the player can come up with their own, really. But as part of a mission story, one of them will be you can disguise yourself as a student association member, give some students a tour of the building before finishing up. Just in the perfect position, really. So pretending I'm disguised as a student association member. You finish up here in this room with a direct access to this staircase. And then one final one is that you can pretend to be a chef. And some members of the paramilitary want to have some falafel, and so you can get the falafel delivered to them. And so you will, obviously poison it and give it to the Paramilitary Leader, or Paramilitary elite member, really. And they will go to the toilets. You can knock them out there and steal their disguise, and then you'll have direct access to the underground base. Okay, so I think without playing it yourself, that's the most I can do in sort of exploring and explaining the level. I think we'll move on to the final section of this demonstration, which will be some of the AI and other such things. So let's crack on. Let's see if we can find the map. I don't want to save it. Okay, so here we are in the testing ground. Okay, so quickly show you the NPCs. Look, I can speak. What's going on there? So I have some NPC crowd blueprints. I have one for male and one for female. Let's quickly open that one here as well. So both the same blueprints, nice and easy. But on component begin overlap, cast Agent 47, set hidden in game the text, which it says it's hidden. So unhidden for a set amount of time, 2 seconds, that can be changed, and then set hidden again. And then if you end overlap anyway, then set it hidden anyway. For the text rotation, event begin play, set the text to say, so I can set that. If it's true that you can talk, set an time by event, every 0.01 seconds. Cast the cast the Agent 47, get the follow camera, times these ones by -1, add 180 to it, and set the wheel rotation. And that's how I get it to be following the player where the camera is. Okay, so that's true for both the male and the female. I can change this if I wanted to, but I don't really. So the elements, I mean. And that's pretty much it for the crowd. Oh, actually, I should show you as well. In the mesh, they have different LODs. This is to do with the triangles. Can you search it up? No? Okay. Bit annoying. Here we are. Okay. So in rendering, I made this go up to 5. I've given these ones LOD 3, but I could go up to 5 if I wanted to, just to have less triangles really. So I changed them all to be a bit more blocky. I think if I got it at LOD 0, you'll see too many triangles. Too many. So just to make it a bit more efficient, I've set it as LOD 3, whereas the standard static meshes, they just have LOD 5s, just to give it better runtime. Okay, so now on to the AI. Okay, quickly show you this first. So I have different level areas, level area 0, 1, 2, and 3. This is to do with detection. So level 0 area, set this to be 0, all this to be untrue. Level 1, only 1 to be true. Level 2, only 2 to be true. Level 3, only 3 to be true. All this is that this dictates whether or not the player is kind of in an illegal area. Level 0 isn't, but level 1, 2, and 3 are illegal areas, so without the correct disguises, you won't be allowed there, or if anyone spots you, you'll be stopped. Okay. So, over the past couple of days, I've been working on the AI for this. I call this BP level 1. These are what has been in the game so far. I've only done level 1 so far, but hopefully we'll get the level 2 and level 3 in as well. And all these people do is they will walk up to you and tell you to stop, and they will chase you until they either you leave the area or until they stop seeing you, and then they will try and find you. So, got a similar text rotation, similar text thing here. That's fine. I have the AI and the blueprint, blackboard and behavior tree. Okay, so in the AI, event begin play, run the behavior tree, this one. Cast to BP layer 1, set that as the pawn. And then the pawn be the patrol path. Right, yeah, should probably get the patrol path as well. Here it is. The poor patrol person. Okay. Set the values pool is looping. This doesn't make any sense because I've not shown you this. Okay. This is the behavior tree for the level 1. There's 3 things: patrolling, chasing, and patrolling, chasing, and searching. If you're patrolling and you can't see the player, then find a path point, move to it, wait for a period, and then add the increment path index, add 1, or loop path if that is too high, but if not looping, then decrement. What does this mean? What am I on about? Basically, if I click, here, it's all on this one. If I click is looping, then the different path points, I have 1 here, 0, 1, 2, and 3. If it's looping, it will go 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. If I unclick it, it will go 0, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 0. I can set the wait time. That has to do with the blackboard wait. This one. I can't think. Okay, fine. Yeah, it won't open if it's not special. Okay, let's open them all then. Want to do a deep dive? This is what I get. All right then. Here we go. So I don't need to play anymore. Okay. So from the root, I'm selecting if I can see the player or if I can't. If I can see the player, this is linked to the pawn sensing. I think it's pawn sensing, isn't it? No, it's not. AI perception, my mistake. AI perception, that's what it's called. I've got a sight radius and it's in a 75-degree angle. If I do see it, then I'm setting can see player to be true. This is what this means. On target perception updated, so if this is updated, cast the first person, and if any of these things are true, then set can see player. This means that if I'm not in an illegal position, then it will count as that they can't see me, even if they can. This means, this is where it gets a bit difficult. This means if I stand here, this dude will be able to see me, right? But he acts as if I can't because I'm not in an illegal area. The illegal area is this box collision, overlap all. This is the illegal area. So if I go in, he turns, he sees me and walks towards me. What does that mean? Okay, what's going on there? So if I'm in the illegal area, he can see me. If he can see me, then we go straight away to chasing. We're always checking if he can or can't see the player. If he can see me, he will run to me, and this will be updated every 0.2 seconds. And he will find my location, get my active location to a radius of 100, and set the vector. And if it's as long as it's not true that I'm wearing a disguise, set the vector and finish. Now then, this is where it gets really cool. If I am wearing a disguise, it will act as if it can't see me. Let me demonstrate. This is a disguise. It acts as if it can't see me. If I go back, it does. It can. In fact, actually, that's the problem. What I forgot to do is actually in this area is have level 0 areas on all of these areas here. This is relevant because I only set it not to be true, level 1 not to be true, once the player steps into these areas. And so that's why the enemy could then, well, that's why the level 1 AI could see me then, because I never set it not to be true. Okay. So let's demonstrate that again. You can see me, you can see me, you can see me, you can see me. How dare you, how dare you, how dare you. Okay, so it's going to chase me still. But if I go out here and it can't see me, it's just like, okay, what the heck. You know, and what it will do, if it doesn't see me, But if it's chasing, so what I've done is I've set chase player to be 2. This is what this means. Patrolling, searching, chasing. It's an enum, so this is 0, 1, and 2. So if it is 2, then do this, searching. If it is not, then do this. But it is searching, but it can't see me. Then, if it's true that it is equal to searching, so what it really is, what this is actually is not patrolling, it is chasing, do this once, go to the last player location. This makes it a bit more realistic and a bit harder for the player. Because if I don't do this, it'll actually break if I don't do that. But if I don't go there, it will just stop when it stops seeing me where it is instead of going to my last location. This goes to the last location it saw, which means that the player has to move. It will do that once, and then it will change the status to searching. And so if it's searching, then find the random location in an area and walk there, random being radius of 500, and wait there for about 3 seconds with a random deviation of 1 second. I'm going to change that to about 2 seconds actually, I think. 2.5. I think in hindsight that's probably better time. And then change the status to patrolling. So if it is equal to patrolling, so if it's not equal, but it is now equal to patrolling, this can no longer be true. Can't do this again. Now do the patrol path and go back to doing the increments. I was explaining this before I sort of got sidetracked, but find the path point, get the level 1, get the transform of the path index, get a copy of the location, walk to it. Well, I'm moving to. So I'm just setting the vector actually. Then move to that vector, then wait for a time, then add 1. Adding 1 here. And then loop. And if it doesn't want to loop, then do decrement instead, which is just the same as increment but -1 instead. C and -1. Hopefully that sort of makes sense. It's a bit hard. It makes sense when you get there, but all that is just based off the enum of patrolling, searching, and chasing. That's what makes it work really, rather than anything else. So that's what happens. That's why they chase me. That's why they won't if I'm wearing a disguise. I could even wear this disguise, and I don't think they'll chase me. Yeah. So there you go. I don't know if you wear. I don't know actually if you will chase me if I wear this one. No, you won't. Okay. Cool. So there you go. I think that's the exploration of that blueprint. Let's just make sure I've not forgotten anything. In case you didn't notice, I did change the layout to all this, so it makes more sense to me. I have just made different materials, I think, but that's sort of implied. I think that's it. I think that's everything. Let's just check the game mode. Yeah, event we can play. I'm just adding the hood. Alright. I think that's everything then. Oh! Right, yeah. Quickly show you the lighting. This is cool. We have lights. Different kinds of lights for different areas. The underground light's different from the association light, and this is different from the library light. So each section has different lights. But they all work. They all do the same thing. They all light up the area. It's just depending on the section. Okay, I think that's it. Brilliant. So, oh, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for sitting through however long this is. Yeah, it's coming along well. It's been good fun so far. Going to have a lot of playtesting after this weekend. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. See you and take care. Bye bye.